So Brian, what's this? This looks fantastic right here.
This is our trailing wandering Jew. It grows over the plants and droops down. Real nice vine.
Real gorgeous color. These are the same.
Yes, sir.
Different species?
Yes, sir. The same thing.
Well, let's take a look at what we really in the greenhouse for today at White Oak Estate, and that's to talk a little bit about our melitons and the success we're having with them. And I want to, thank all of you for visiting with us today. We are in the greenhouse at White Oak Estate and Gardens here in Baton Rouge, and of course Brian Ainsworth is our head of horticulture here, and he and his wife kind of maintain just about not only the greenhouse but the grounds as well. How long have you been with us?
I'm going on 7 years now.
7 years.
Close
And
to 7.
what got you into to this? Because obviously you love gardening, and what got you into it?
My grandparents were a great influence. They was always gardeners and always grew sustainable stuff to live off of, stuff like that. So that's pretty much where I got it from.
So the garden was that grocery store.
Yes,
huh?
sir.
Yeah, like many of us in the country. I mean, my family also were sugarcane farmers, but they grew huge gardens. I mean, we learned to really appreciate the quality of the land and growing, and we were all farmers at a young age. But the thing that really excites me is our chayote squash, our Melatonin project that we're doing. In fact, you have the shirt on right here, the Ishreal Thibodeaux White Melatonin Preservation Project that David Hubble and I have been working on with a couple of other folks. And our mission is to save this chayote squash right here, this Melatonin, the white Melatonin, which is very, very rare. And you see in Brian's hand here, we got the one that you just get at the grocery store. I mean, you can go in and get the green Melatonin, but very seldom has anyone ever seen this one. In fact, I think you and I probably had the last sustainable vine.
Yes, sir.
This, right?
As far as we know, we have the only ones growing at this time.
Yeah, so we were able last year to choose, I think, 5 or 6 folks who were willing to commit to growing the Melatonin on their own property in 2 or 3 different states in the South, because this is definitely a plant that needs a good hot climate, right?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't do well in cold weather at all. But anyway, so David Hubble and I have been working with a group of farmers to really try our best to get vines growing in at least 4 or 5 different states. So this is what's interesting too about it. If you, Ryan, if you come a little closer here, this is kind of the progression of the Melatonin. We actually plant it, and when we plant it, on the back right here, we start to see, and we may have one of these already opening up somewhere, but it opens up, and all of a sudden this little sprout right here kind of pops out, and all of the nutrients needed to grow this plant is in my hand. So you see, as the plant starts to send out a root, then from the root you start to get the vine, and it is a climbing vine. So then it'll start to consume itself. This is all the nutrients and the water and everything it needs to grow. And this is the progression of it. This is the end. As it starts to consume itself, then you start to get a really nice vine. And now, how long has it been taking us from the time we actually plant them in the pots back here like this? How long does it not take to get to this stage, you think?
Well, the first batches we ran, it was December 1st. So you're looking at about a month and a half to get to this point right here.
Yeah, so, yeah, and of course, the minute it started getting cold, we started to collect the melitons and bring them into the hothouse. So this is where we are right now. And Ryan, you might want to get a little closer here. And Brian, you can come on in here and talk a little bit about what we're doing. What exactly are we doing with all of this?
And what we're doing is we're trying to keep them isolated. They grow up there, their own little poles, and then come springtime, we're going to spread them out to other growers, and then we're also going to grow several more patches here at White Oak. I'm even going to take one to my house and grow.
And you see, like this is a great example here. the plant is consumed itself now. So this one, the same thing. It's consumed. You don't see any of the Melatonin anymore because now it's created a root system, right?
Yes, sir.
And the root system is no longer, the plant is no longer dependent on the nutrients from the Melatonin itself, because now it's growing its own roots and picking up its nutrients from the soil. Now, what I have here now is all different stages of Melatonin. Again, you can see some that's just starting out right here. You can see the little greens coming on it. And my intention is to share these with growers all over the South who's interested in growing the Melatonin vines. And I don't know how many of these white Melitons we got off of our arbor this year, but I must have been in the hundreds, right?
It was up there. This is just a fraction of the ones that actually seeded out. Most of the time, they don't really produce that seed, and then we use those for cooking.
Yeah, and so what we have now, we feel that we have done a good job of preserving the Ishreal Thibodeaux white Melliton, white chayote squash, and I think if every one of our growers succeed, we will have brought back a very important plant from extinction. We just about lost it, but thank God to this greenhouse, thank God to Brian and his ingenuity, we were able to make this happen. And by the way, just one last quick thing, this is actually a Melliton that's been created from the vine, right?
From a cutting, yes, sir. We just snip off one of the tips there, and you put it in the dirt and let it sit for about a month or so, and it starts producing roots.
And we then realized that you didn't need the Melliton itself, that we could actually produce the plant just by doing a cutting. So anyway, that's the Ishreal Thibodeaux White Melliton project that we've been involved on. I definitely want to thank my good buddy in Alabama for being a part of this. And y'all stop by White Oak and see this for yourself. It's amazing.